On July 23rd, I posted a video where I lamented that there was no full version of the 1957 Jane Eyre anywhere on the internet, and on August 1st, somebody uploaded it. I watched it as quickly as I could, and since it's only 51 minutes, it's not a huge time commitment. The facts are the same. Still stars Patrick Macnee as Rochester and Joan Elan as Jane. My reactions are a little bit different. 3 things. This version is extremely condensed. I'm never really a fan of cutting down the story too much because I feel like it cuts down on character development and things like that. I just felt like this was too much too fast. It starts with her arriving at Thornfield, and then the ending bit, she leaves Thornfield, and then she's riding away and she hears Rochester calling her name, and she turns right back around. It seemed like the proposal, her leaving, and her coming back and finding Rochester blinded all happened on the same night. I might be mistaken, but it seemed that way, and whoa, it was jarring. Number 2, lots of new dialogue. This was something that I suspected having watched that little clip, and it turns out I was right, that there was a lot of stuff that they added to this version. It's kind of a surprise because you would think that they would just strip down the bare bones of the novel and keep what they would consider essential lines and just use those. Maybe because they stripped it down so much, they felt like they had to make up all their own lines to patch things together. I would never presume to say that I know the entire book by heart, but I could definitely tell when they were going off in a different direction. Sometimes it worked, sometimes... Number 3, I'm going to call this the character seesaw. 2 complete extremes. Patrick Macnee as Rochester was probably the darkest Rochester I've ever seen. I say that literally because I think he had a lot of dark eye makeup on, but I also mean darkest in terms of character and delivery. He speaks in a very low, rough tone, and I heard that in the clip, and I thought he was doing it because he was speaking urgently with a strong undercurrent of passion. It was all part of the moment. But he actually spoke that way through the entire movie, and it just made him seem very heavy and bitter. Even when he was being lighter with her, it was still kind of like, ugh. So here's this really heavy Rochester, and on the flip side is the brightest Jane Eyre I've ever seen. She was practically chipper. She would look off into space and be like, I just wish that I could figure out what it is that makes him the way he is. And she would say that after some really strange interactions with him. And by strange, what I'm referring to is this one scene where, Jane had been talking to Rochester as the first interview, and he's drinking. She takes Adele to bed, and then for some reason, a little while later, she comes back down, and he's been drinking steadily, and he's like, I've had too much brandy, and he comes lurching over to her, and she's just going about her business, whatever business that is, and he's saying things that kind of make sense but don't really, and Jane's trying to puzzle them all out with her cute little chipper face, and he's just lecherously leaning over her and breathing in her face, and it's she tries to get away and he stops her this way, and then she's getting away that way, and suddenly I'm just like, stop everything! This is a dangerous situation! This is bad! Jane, you need to get out of there! This is extremely unprofessional behavior, and he's harassing you. I don't know if he's trying to seduce you or just freak you out, but you need to get out. You need to find another position pronto and just get out! And for the rest of the film, I just couldn't feel comfortable because Rochester got drunk that one time and was cornering her and leaning all over her and just not being a gentleman. Do other people like this version? I am really glad, though, that it got uploaded, because otherwise I never would have gotten to see it. The more the merrier where Jane Eyre is concerned, and there's always room for new interpretation. I think it's great that it's out there now, and everybody else can see it, and maybe someone else will say, this is the best version ever. But this did lead me to watch some clips of the Avengers television series from the 60s, which looks really fun and entertaining, and Patrick Macnee plays a completely different character, very likable, and I think that's the character that he is most remembered for, most loved for, and that would probably be a more fitting tribute to his memory than this little Jane Eyre that not many people have heard of and that was a little strange. So maybe I will add the Avengers to my watch list and check that out, because that looks really good.